Hello and welcome back to JoeSchaeferFlyFishing.com. I'm Joe Schaefer. This is the second fly in my series of bugs that are must-haves for your boxes. This is a little Baetis imitation. It's called a chocolate foam emerger. This fly literally used all over the West and quite a few places around the country. It's just a perfect little bug that works in multiple situations. To start out with, we use a 70 brown UTC thread. We use a small copper wire. We use some razor foam in white. And we use a saddle hackle feather for the tail. I've literally tied hundreds, if not thousands, of these bugs. I always have them. This is a UTC 2487 hook. I'll tie them down to size 22s and 24s all the way up to 18s and 16s to cover the multiple hatches. It's a great little emerger pattern that you can use for many different things. I'm going to start out by winding some thread on that hook. I'm going to tie in the small copper wire next, right along the side of the hook there, making sure my wraps are connecting all the way down, getting that good looking brown thread, and I come just down the bend of the hook. I want that tail kind of facing down a little bit. I select the feather here, I splay out some of the feather fibers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select about 6 or 8 of them for the tail. Smaller ones I use less. Bigger flies I'll tend to use a little bit more. Just kind of gauge on the different bugs that you see. Basically, we're just putting in a fine little tail here to match the naturals. That tail, you want it just sticking out the back there. I'm going to bind it down with a couple wraps, and then I'm going to move that thread forward, making sure those fibers stay in line to just behind the eye of the hook there. I'm going to cut it off, make a couple wraps, then I'm going to wind that, I'm going to palmer that wire forward, making sure to leave some gaps in there, nice even wraps to the head. Then I'm going to tie it off with 3 or 4 wraps. I'm going to helicopter that wire so I get a good clean cut there. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take a piece of that razor foam, and I'm going to tie it in just at the top here. Being careful not to grab too much of it there, otherwise you won't be able to cover it with your thread wraps. We're going to make a little head at the front here. It's also going to build the thorax a little bit going into the head. Making a few wraps. Then I'm going to take my whip finisher and I'm going to whip finish that head 3 or 4 times. And then I'm going to cut off that foam. That foam kind of mimics a little wing bud. Perfect little wing bud there. As you can see, our tail is out the back end here. It's so fine that it sits down into the crease, but you can see the tail's out the back here. Nice little tail, nice little foam emerger that's effective in multiple situations. You can change the colors on these. You can do grays and blacks. Those are all great colors to add to the mix. But this chocolate color is the best color that I've found for multiple situations. Tie up a bunch and you won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching. Take care.